Jeff, welcome to the News Hour. President Trump signed several new agreements with Saudi Arabia today. This is the first leg of a three-nation tour of the Middle East. It's his first major trip abroad since retaking the White House. AMNA. The president met with Saudi Arabia's de facto ruler, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, and spoke at length during an investment conference. As Nick Schifrin reports, Mr. Trump also assailed decades of American policy in the region, while he sets a new course. Nick, today in Riyadh, President Trump received a personal escort. Arabian horses escorted the world's most expensive limo and passenger plane into Riyadh. The kingdom welcomed President Trump with lavender carpet treatment, believing the best way to enhance relations is a meeting of the minds and money. The Crown Prince and President Trump mingled with leading CEOs and signed agreements worth tens of billions of dollars. Behind the show were the Crown Prince's diplomatic priorities, including one he announced today. President Trump will meet with Ahmed al-Shara, a one-time insurgent imprisoned by the U.S., who is now Syria's interim president. He has been campaigning for international recognition and the lifting of sanctions. Today, President Trump told business and Saudi leaders he would grant this. President Trump, that's why my administration has already taken the first steps toward restoring normal arrangements between the United States and Syria for the first time in more than a decade. I will be ordering the cessation of sanctions against Syria in order to give them a chance. Nick, that's a reversal from recent U.S. skepticism. Another Saudi and Arab priority is to convince the U.S. not to attack Iran's nuclear facilities and instead make a deal, currently being negotiated by Steve Witkoff, mediated by Oman, also to end the war in Gaza. So long as the war goes on and Israel blocks the establishment of a Palestinian state, Saudi Arabia will not normalize relations with Israel. But in the meantime, U.S. and Saudi deals will proceed in what the White House calls the largest defense agreement in history. $142 billion worth of jets, missile defense, and other weapon systems. Also announced today, chip giant Nvidia will build some of the world's most advanced chips in Saudi Arabia, excluding Chinese technology. It was just a few years ago that Chinese President Xi Jinping received the same lavender carpet treatment. The U.S. and Saudi Arabia will compete with China by combining forces to mine critical minerals. As part of the kingdom weaning itself off oil, the U.S. and Saudi Arabia will cooperate on energy. A senior Saudi official tells PBS NewsHour that the U.S. has endorsed future Saudi civil nuclear energy. President Trump said today the new Middle East means more, despite his predecessor's work. President Trump, the gleaming marbles of Riyadh and Abu Dhabi were not created by the so-called nation builders or liberal nonprofits, like those who spent trillions and trillions of dollars failing to develop Kabul, Baghdad, and so many other cities. Instead, the birth of a modern Middle East has been brought by the people of the region themselves. Nick, that is a shift away from decades of U.S. strategy, a transactional realist approach that Middle East leaders know well and welcome. For the PBS NewsHour, I'm Nick Schifrin.